Hey, what is up guys? For this question, I'm going to be solving number of connected components in an undirected graph. And essentially what this question asks for is, given a bunch of nodes and an array of edges, we want to return the number of connected components in the graph. So for this example, we can see that the connecting components is this component here and this one here. So we have two connected components after connecting all these edges together. So the approach I'm going to take here is going to be a union find approach, where if we take this example, we have each node initially just by itself, and after going through the edges, we're gonna union the edges together. So going through them one by one, if we union 0 and 1, let's say we mark 0 as the parent node. So now 1 is part of this and its parent is 0. And once we union 1 and 2 here, we're going to first do a find on 1 to find its parent node and do a find on 2 to find its parent node. And since 2's parent node is itself and 1's parent node is 0, we're just going to link 2 to 0 here. And similarly for 3 and 4, we'll just arbitrarily call 3 as its parent. And while we do that, every time we do a union where this results in a linkage, we can simply subtract it from the total number of nodes that we had initially. So we're going to start with 5, and once we do a union, we do it once here, another time here, and a third time here. We can just do 5 minus 3 to give us the resulting number of components that we end up with. So an example of when we wouldn't subtract this is, let's say we had another node, another edge here, which was 0 and 2. Since when we find the parent for 0, it's going to be 0. And when we find the parent node for 2, it's going to also be 0. We're not going to do the union here. And that's how we're not going to increase this number. So we're still going to end up with 3 in the end to give us the correct answer. This is a fairly simple approach. If you know how to do union find, I can link a video in the description that's been super helpful in getting me to understand how that works under the hood. But for now, I'll just jump to the code parts and let's see what that looks like in the coding section. For the coding part, I like to start initially with the boilerplate code for union find. So obviously we have a union method, takes 2 nodes, and we have a find method. And we can just start with writing the find one since it's much smaller. Essentially, you want to keep going through the array until we find the parent node for a specific node. Once we find that, we can just return that entry, and that's this parent array I can define here. Initially, it's just going to be every entry in that array is its own parent. So this is going to be 0. 0th element is going to be 0. First element is going to be 1. Second element is going to be 2, and so on. And for the union, we want to find the parent node for each node, and if they end up being the same, we are just going to return false because we're not going to do the union. Otherwise, we could just arbitrarily name one to be the parent of the other and return true. And now all we have to do is start with end for the resulting components that we're going to return, and go through each edge and see if we can union both of these edges. If it returns true, then we're just going to subtract 1 from result. So this should be edges. That should be it for solving this question. Hopefully that made sense. I'll go into a detailed video on union find if that's helpful. Otherwise, thank you for watching.